biggest deal. But yeah, I'm kind of annoyed because I had like a 40-minute live yesterday and I just watched it. And it was like I talked about a whole bunch of stuff about making sure that you stay on course. I had like an ASMR train video on the background, more just like a train cam. And but basically, if I want to like kind of talk about what I talked about in that video that's gone forever now, unless somebody recorded it, please re-upload it if that's you. I know it's like not the end of the world. I'm not like this big giant content creator or whatever, but um, just know that like there are two things you can do in the morning. For anybody who's like a doomsayer who thinks that the world is ending and that the only solution is for a comet to hit the planet, because I was chatting with a viewer who was talking like that, and I'm like, basically, to think that you know all the information that has ever happened for the last 10,000 years is extremely arrogant. Because people say, oh, you know, all we have to do is look at history to know that, like, the world is terrible and that humans are terrible. There's so much information you're lacking. And on a micro level, like for myself, I was able to make my life go from a toxic place into a positive place, to be able to overcome so many difficulties in order to get my surgeries to happen with an attitude of what can I do? What can I do to make the world a better place? Or you have a choice in the morning. Am I going to wake up and say, oh, everything is terrible and it's pointless and I may as well give up? Or are you going to wake up with the attitude that I can find something, even the smallest thing I can possibly do to make the world a better place? And instead of scrolling social media and arguing with random people on the internet that might not even be real people, let's be honest. Dead internet theory is definitely a reality nowadays. Hey, what's up, Ansh? What's up, Toshia? What's up, Lizote? Lizote boys. Lizote boys. What's up? Trying to summarize the video that I accidentally deleted yesterday. Hi, Lux. Hi, Raymond. Hi, Aditya. You want kisses? Hershey's Kisses, like chocolate? I'm 37. So basically, you have a choice to make every single day. And you could spend the whole day, you know, confirming your belief that we're screwed and that the world is falling apart, which it kind of is. I mean, I'm pretty terrified every single day. I cried this morning about stuff that's going on, that it's so easy to talk about and to continue to talk about. It's so easy for me to bring it up right now, but I'm not going to. That instead, I'm going to focus on the fact that, hey, I've been consistent towards my goals. I've been showing up, you know, to work every week, working on things in whatever way I possibly can. I've been playing solitaire, you know, to have more time with myself instead of scrolling social media. We're not doing WhatsApp. I don't do that. I'm from California and like San Francisco area. But you know, I can do things like that to create a little bit of peace in my life, to create a little bit of a sanctuary from all the chaos that's going on around us. That I could just, you know, start crying and screaming, which is going to happen, and sometimes it's cathartic. And, you know, sometimes we have to go through that. You want to work in my company? Well, I don't know you or your company, and this sounds like a really weird way to get a job offer. 10 per month? $10? I gotta work more for than $10 a month. I'm sorry. Unless you're gonna give me other opportunities, like, then it's like volunteer work and I'm getting opportunities. 10K a month? Is it filling out surveys? So you can have like a little bit of a sanctuary in your life where you can just turn off your phone, turn off the computer, stop scrolling social media. I don't even look at Twitter anymore. In fact, we live in a situation where YouTubers will do that for you. So I don't really need to look at Twitter. I just look at like whatever big things happen. And then even then, I don't watch every single video. I sometimes just scroll through videos and I start watching them. I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch this. It's only going to get me upset. What purpose is it really going to serve? Is it really going to give me information that I absolutely need? If I really wanted information, I could search on perplexity.ai. I swear by that app. I've been using it to research a lot of things like about executive dysfunction. That's how I got into like just reinforcing good habits, being consistent, and like not believing like my gut instinct, because sometimes if your gut instinct is wrong, if everything you know about the world is wrong, you need something else to give you the ideas that are based in research and empirical data, because what I think is right doesn't mean it's right. Like I have to humble myself and know that I don't have access to 100% of information. And so like I have to trust the process. Trust the process. But that even going out for a walk or into the grocery store instead of ordering delivery is a big deal that a lot of people could do to improve their lives. And if they think the world is falling apart, go to the grocery store and smile at the cashier. You don't know if that cashier might be the next billionaire. Do you want that person to feel bitter about the world, or do they want to remember your smile? That when they were at the grocery store working a job that they hated, dealing with annoying customers, at the very least they saw you and it reminded them that the world isn't a terrible place. Not all the time. And I just wanted to kind of like say this again, because I accidentally deleted the live from yesterday. At least I watched it before I deleted it. I thought that it was it said processing, but it was also already listed. And so I thought it was a superfluous video, and I deleted it, and it deleted both of them. So I'm not going to just delete videos anymore, because it's like there's no trash bin, and it sucks. Because it's like, I had like a really good conversation on my live stream, but you know what? We're going to have more conversations like this, so it's not the end of the world. And also sometimes it is a little bit of a good exercise to record a video and then delete it. Especially if it's a good video. Because then it reminds you that you could always make a new video. It's never going to be the same. But you can talk about the same kind of things. And I try not to be like, I don't really know if I can really make content that's in like the more political kind of thing. My latest short was like, I had a thought that I just like, every now and then I think about like, what am I going to tell people who are just like really transphobic? I don't usually engage with like, haters, especially if it's just based on pure transphobia and nothing about me personally. And there's also nuance in that, because sometimes people's opinion of you is influenced by bias that they don't always understand. So it's like, I'll notice this in like people like who are really like fans of Asmongold. Because he plays into this slippery slope mindset that is plaguing this world. I really wish that, I really don't think he understands the harm that he's doing. I think he's convinced that what he's doing is based in logic and reason. And I respect him as a content creator, and obviously I respect his right to say his own opinions. I think freedom of speech goes beyond just legal, because people say, oh, freedom of speech is just, from to protect you from persecution against the government. But like, for example, a private business is allowed to reject you if you are saying things that go against their vision. But you have to look at it this way. The business owner is practicing their freedom of speech by saying, we don't stand for your speech. So it's like a layer of freedom of speech. And that's the way I see it, is that if I go into someone's business and they're like super, like, their values are different than mine, and then I go in there and like start like saying things that are causing disruptions to their customers, they're going to kick me out. And I could say, well, I have freedom of speech. I thought you guys liked freedom of speech. Well, their freedom of speech allows them to kick me out as a business owner. It's their business. It's not a public place. It's a private business. And I don't like that all the time, but it does protect people. And it does create harmony. And I really do think that like the world should be a more harmonious and peaceful place rather than being a place where there's only people that agree with us. I think it's possible to have people who disagree with you, but also have safety and peace and harmony. And right now we don't have that. Right now we have chaos. And I could just get upset about it, which I do. And I cried this morning about what's going on with how they're targeting trans medicine for adults now with the House spending bill that they snuck in the middle of the night. Those sneaky little bastards. Trying to take away Medicaid from adults. Even people like me who have already had surgery. They're trying to take away access to estrogen. Now, to be fair, estradiol is extremely inexpensive. It's like $15 a month if I had to pay for it out of pocket. But the messaging is worse than the reality for me because it doesn't affect just me. It affects other people. It affects people who, if I had been starting my transition now, I would be absolutely like terrified. I was already terrified. I was able to get the surgery in time. I almost didn't. But shouldn't everybody be allowed to go through the surgery process like I did? How come I get to succeed and others don't? It's not right. And it makes me want to cry every single day. And I don't feel like I deserve to have success because it's like so many people don't. But I owe it to everybody who is struggling right now to move forward and make a better life for myself. So that people know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That maybe it'll help other people understand how important this healthcare is. That I've documented the entire 5 to 6 year process, including post-operative documentation of doing a public style journal in the form of live streaming, that maybe at some point in time I might be able to bring that all into the forefront in a more in a way that more people will see it. And I don't know when that day will come, and hopefully I'm not the only one who is doing that. But I think the more people who are against like trans medicine, the more people can see how beneficial it is, the less people will fight against it. It's like you're fighting against people being happy. You're fighting against people becoming better people. It should benefit everybody. Like, if I'm a better person, it means I'm not causing any harm to people. It means that I'm like not draining resources. And so it's like, I don't know, it's so easy to get stuck thinking about those things and wanting to cry about it. But I need to be thankful for the blessings that I have. That I was able to make it happen, that I overcame executive dysfunction, autism issues, environmental factors, financial factors, that I just got, I rounded up all the resources that were available to me, that I'm lucky enough to live in the San Francisco Bay Area to have had all these resources, but I could have easily ignored them. I could have easily just dropped the ball, and I didn't. I suffered through it because I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know things can seem hard for other things in my life that other people are struggling with, such as financial independence, housing, career advancement, especially as a content creator, especially as a model, especially as a woman, and especially as a trans woman, especially as an autistic trans woman, model, sex worker. I face multiple layers of ignorance and judgment and stigma, but I can't use those as a way to steer me off course. I have to use those as a way to keep me on course. That it's so easy to blame other people. It's so easy to take your situation and use that as fuel to the fire. It's much harder to pick yourself up and do it anyway. And I've already proven it that I could do it with surgeries. So I'm going to prove it with my career next. Maybe I'll be on the cover of some really popular magazines someday. Maybe I'm going to be world famous someday. At the very least, maybe I can just have some financial independence so that nobody could ever hurt me ever again. I'm tired of being abused by my lack of financial independence. And so I'm going to do everything I can, everything that I've been doing, and more. And I'm not going to give up. I'm going to start every single day with what can I do to make my life better? What can I do to make the world better? Because it starts in here. And you got to be a cockroach. And that's one thing you can learn from people like Asmongold, is that love him or hate him, or think neutral of him. Regardless of, I disagree with a lot of the things that he believes in, or that he claims to believe in. I'm going to assume that he believes them. I'm not going to assume he's being dishonest. It's so easy to do that. But it's just like, well, if you're going to flip a coin, may as well flip the coin that people are telling you first, until proven otherwise. But maybe there's an opportunity for discussion rather than shutting it down. Anybody who wants to take down Asmongold is in the wrong mindset. Because if you take down Asmongold, someone else has his opinion. There's a reason why he's so popular. If you don't like Asmongold, it's because you don't like the world. And if you want to make the world a better place, you have to have these conversations. And I feel like people like Asmongold are actually pretty fair when it comes to eventually having the conversation. He just takes a while. Maybe he's autistic, like me. Maybe he's really stubborn for reasons outside of his control. But wouldn't you, and you may not like him or what he does or what he stands for. I don't really like what he stands for a lot of the time. But I would hope that eventually it's possible, if not with me, but with somebody, that he has these conversations so that he can learn and grow and stop spouting out ignorance just because it's good for his algorithm. I want to change the algorithm because you have to change people, and you can't change people. You can change yourself. And if you change yourself, maybe people will change because they see you, they're watching you, and they will change their opinion on somebody. Sometimes it's for petty reasons or stupid reasons or whatever you think they are, but it's the reality. Sometimes people need somebody to behave in a certain way and change the narrative in order for them to get out of their same thoughts. And so, like, people who are like Asmongold viewers and Asmongold himself, I would hope that maybe I could show them rather than tell them that there's nothing wrong with being a transgender person who is able to be respected and succeeded in their endeavors, and that the biases they have are pre-programmed into them, and that they're making themselves angrier at things than they merit because they see something happening and they already have a script in their head that is already automatically responding to it before they've even given this person a chance. Where if it was somebody that they liked doing the things that they're yelling about, they'd be like, oh yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get it, man. Oh, that's fucking great. I love it, man. But if it's somebody they don't like, that they have negative opinions about, they'll be like, oh, fucking of course, another one of those trans people. Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think Asmongold knows this. And I think he's smart. Because he knows his audience is going to respond a certain way. And if you want to stop Asmongold, you have to start with yourself. You have to show and don't tell. As much as I don't like that. As much as I don't like that I have to prove myself to people. I have nothing to prove. But if my goal is to help people break out of these toxic mindsets, you're going to have to take unconventional methods. Okay? But either way, that's that's a long-term, fantasy endeavor. That's not really important. I don't really need that to succeed. I have my own ways to succeed. I'm making money. And I may not be at the top of the ladder, but I'm on the ladder. A lot of people who get onto camming, and as much as it seems weird for me, because when I started camming, I made $300 the first weekend. And this was a couple of years ago when I was just dabbling in it. But, sometimes I make like $20 or $5 even. No, I make more than $5 usually. If I work a whole show, I've been proving to myself that if I just show up every single week and be consistent and engage with my audience, the money might not, I can't expect money, but it does come. And most people are not able to make money on social media. So I am among a percentage of people that I used to make $0 from social media, and now I'm making sometimes $100 to $300 a week. So there is hope, and I have actual analytical evidence that says I will succeed. Not that I can succeed, I will succeed, because I'm already succeeding. And it's so hard to see it when you only look at the money, because if you say, oh, well, you're earning $100 a week, whatever. On social media, that is an insane amount of money. If you look at the actual lived experience of most people on social media, most people never make a dime. Okay, so I need to accept that I am strong and I am capable and I have value. Even if I wasn't making money, I would still feel that way. Because if I was making $0, my goal would then be to make a single dollar. Then if I make a single dollar, make $2, then $4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 5096. I can't go any more than that. Without a calculator. Or at least without writing it out. So I'm going to be okay. Focus on the micro. Focus on what you can do right now to make your life move towards in the general direction of where you want to go. Because if you don't, you are a victim of other people's external influence, and you have no control. But even if everybody around you is controlling you, you can still control your thoughts. And you can still choose most likely, if you're watching a video on YouTube, especially if you're in the United States, you're more than likely way more equipped than you possibly may even realize. That if you just look for the tiniest of tiny things that you can do differently, like smiling instead of frowning, finding something to smile about, even if it's the smallest thing, the smallest thing. The fact that you even have the ability to look at a YouTube video, that's something to be happy about. Even if everything else in your life sucks, that at least you're alive, that you're breathing, that you have access to technology, even for a brief moment. Something is going to go your way if you make it happen. And it's not going to happen overnight, but like, I fought for 5 years straight to make a surgery happen that I thought, and I truly believed, would never be able to happen in my lifetime. And I made it a reality. I actually had a weird dream last night where I in my dream I felt my genitals and I still had a penis. And it freaked me out because I thought I was awake. I thought that maybe I was just delusional and insane, that I had imagined my surgery. But then I woke up and I was, then I felt down there and yeah, there's a vagina there. So, that it's not a super common dream for me, but it is not an uncommon dream for people who've had surgery. And it doesn't really mean anything. I think it's just residual fears. Because I was so afraid that it was undone in the dream. I thought that I was freaking out. And it just proves to me how much of a good choice this was that I made for myself. That I chose to do the hard work instead of complain about it. Instead of letting myself spiral down into a pattern of negative behavior, of toxic behavior, toxic beliefs, toxic mindsets. That I chose to do the hard work. And if I could do that, what else can I do? Anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about the same talking points I made in the previous live stream because I accidentally deleted it. I think I made pretty much the same points. I can't recreate the same discussions, but all I can do is show up and keep breathing. Just keep breathing and breathing and breathing. All I want to do is keep on breathing. Ooh. Just keep breathing and breathing and breathing. That's all we can really do. Sometimes it feels pointless. Sometimes it feels like, what is the point of all this? But you got to be careful of those thoughts, because when you have those thoughts, the only logical conclusion is that the universe is much larger than the planet Earth, and that nothing matters, and that we're just a speck in the giant ocean of time and space, and that our lives don't matter and that anything we do doesn't matter, but you can't think that way because that is a trap. Oh yeah, I wanted to make the point about Mars. Is people say that like everyone wants to go over to Mars because they're saying, oh, we fucked up on Earth. If we can't solve the problems here on Earth, the problems are going to come with us to Mars. And I think Mars is a trap. I think all the people like Elon Musk and all those pioneer type people that want to go to Mars, let them. They're going to have a rude awakening when they go there and it sucks. And then the meek shall inherit the earth, right? So all of us who want peace and harmony and love for each other and just the ability for people to use their own skills that they have to be able to contribute to society and to be able to have a dignified life with housing, with safety, with food and shelter and water and a sense of community. We're going to be the ones who inherit the earth. All the rest of the people are going to go over to Mars and they're going to be miserable. And we're going to inherit this beautiful planet. And we're going to keep it beautiful. We're going to repair this planet. And we're going to make sure that, like, if they come back and they try to screw it up again, we're going to be like, sorry, it's under new management. You're going to have to fill out a form. I've been playing a lot of solitaire free cell. I even tried 4-deck free cell, which was insane. It has like only like an 8% solve rate. It's insane. But it's a good practice because it's like helping my brain like go through executive decision making that I have struggled with because I'm autistic. My brain has trouble making logical decisions based on like just pure data. Like I can't just like it's I can do it, but it's like difficult for me. And so I need to practice going through the motions on a daily basis of just solving free cell puzzles. Like just dealing out the cards. And also like there's research that supports shuffling cards, handling cards, going back between left and right hand. That's like it connects brain regions and it activates neurons. And solving like putting numbers in sequence on like cards and like using the pattern recognition and like connecting with suits and all that. So solving free cell has been proven to increase mental cognition and working memory and executive functioning by as much as like 35%. And it's used as a way to detect early onset of Alzheimer's and prevent dementia. So it is useful, but also it's been used in a way what's used in a lot of people with ADHD, which executive dysfunction is a part of that, and not just ASD. But it's called something activation. I forgot what it was called. But basically, by actually just like not thinking about it, not researching it, but actually getting up and doing something, you are reinforcing and strengthening the part of your brain that follows through with activities. And so because of past trauma and because of autism that like it, amplified the past trauma, my brain is hardwired to avoid certain activities like household chores because of things I don't really particularly want to get into right now, but I had a chaotic household and I have a lot of trauma induced executive dysfunction related to that. And so in order to train myself, I just have to take little small victories where I can. Like, I don't have to do all the dishes. I can just wash one dish. And then, like, just over time, use that as a strength building exercise, that I am reinforcing the dopamine receptors in my mind. It might take a while, but things like free cell, playing a game of free cell from beginning that has a clear beginning and end point. Because even if you lose the game, you're still going through the algorithmic process of solving it. And you can reshuffle and do another game. And it's not about like winning. That's not the thing that, it does make you feel good. It's also a little anticlimactic when you win, but like that's good too. But just going through the process of trying to solve it, that has a clear beginning and end point, that trains your executive functioning through like a process of like activation. Because you're actually engaging in an activity. Just like this live stream. Because it has a clear beginning and end. I didn't have to make this live stream. I didn't have to talk about these things. But now, I can't undo it. I've made a live stream. I've made impressions on people. I've engaged with the audience. Regardless of where that will bring my content creation, if it's the results are not where you should be putting your energy. The results are going to happen, and you can do things to make the results better, but you're not going to make it happen at all if you don't do it. And so it's like, maybe I'll get subscribers, but maybe I won't, but that's not what the process is about. The process is about doing it. The process is about actually following through with it and not just thinking about it, not just writing about it. And even just writing about it is still also engaging in an activity. So even that, which is obviously not as good as doing the activity itself, but it is a pathway, it is a gateway towards the activity. That when you start journaling about something, you might feel stupid for journaling about it. I know, because a lot of the times I feel like, oh, it's a waste of time. But if I just say it's a waste of time and don't do it, I'm definitely not going to do it. And I'm only reinforcing the bad habit of not doing it. But if you just say, you know what? I'm just going to journal about it. Why not? Because if I journal about it, I'm going to be reinforcing the idea of thinking about it. And the more you do that, the more likely you are to do it. And so by like playing games of free cell, I'm not only training my cognitive ability to strengthen all the, to ground myself in the moment, to have a focused activity that I can ground myself in the present moment, but I'm also, which is good for trauma survivors. And also with people with ASD who have, issues with emotional regulation and ruminatory thinking. Like, I go in circles and there's a lot of self-shame and self-guilt and self-blaming and feeling like a failure. But there's the thing that people do that society kind of says is like the normal part of. People think that if you yell at people and punish them, that it's going to make them do better. But that's wrong. Research and science tells us otherwise. The reality is that if you reinforce people with negative reinforcement, it only further reinforces the negative outcome. And that's just a fact. If you truly want to help somebody, you have to look for the little teeny small victories, no matter how small you think they are. Because it's like, hey, you had a choice to make and you made the choice towards progress. It might not be enough right now for the results that you're seeking, but it leads towards it, which is infinitely better than going the opposite direction, which is what negative reinforcement and yelling at people, calling them stupid, saying that they're not good enough, abusive behavior. that will never result in somebody succeeding. And if they do, it's like in spite of that. It's not because of that. It's because that person was able to overcome it. Oh yeah, but you wouldn't have done that if I didn't do that. It's like, no, fuck off with that. You're an abuser. Deal with it. Anyway, I kind of just wanted to talk about some of those things and make sure that, the deleted video, I at least, recovered some of the talking points about. And Crack Miser Gaming is asleep, apparently, because it's bedtime. It's not bedtime, it's 12:51 in the afternoon for me. I'm just getting my day started. You know what Crack Miser is up to? Doing that crack. Don't do crack. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Drink your milk. Be kind. Rewind. And away we go.